Hey guys, welcome back. It's your brother in Christ, Weston. Thanks for joining me today. So today's article comes out of InfoWars and Zero Hedge. Let's get into it. Oh, everybody wants to take over your brain, obviously. So it says here, China developing brain control weaponry, U.S. claims. Chinese Communist Academy of Military and Medical Sciences is helping the Chinese military to develop brain control weapons, according to the U.S. government. The U.S. Commerce Department on Thursday put the Research Academy of 11 other of its institutes on an entity list which bans American companies from exporting technology to them. According to the department notice, the institutes use biotechnology processes to support Chinese military end uses and end users to include purported brain control weaponry, but it did not elaborate further on the emerging technology. The scientific pursuit of biotechnology and medical innovation can save lives, Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said in a statement. Pause. So, just did a video on Neuralink where I was talking about becoming cyborg zombies and how Elon Musk wants to put an interface into your brain where it has like a little CPU or operating system and some wires that I don't know where they're going and why they're going there. I can think of that they literally like plug into places. And it's like you're getting set up into a matrix, right? And it's funny enough how people will believe this. And this was probably, back in deep rabbit hole Reddit post that people were talking about this and people were calling him crazy, and it's true. This is everything that I have been saying about the current thing we're going through, this guy, right? About the things that are happening with that, and then just everything that's leading into Bible prophecy and what we talk about humans no longer being human anymore, right? Talking about like the days of Noah. And back then, I don't know what kind of technologies or sciences they had. They had fallen angels, literally, having sex with the daughters of men and forming these giants, 6 fingers, 6 toes, massive in size, but also with creeping things, birds of the air, women. I mean, anything they could get their hands on, I guess, if that's the best way to say that, and creating these Nephilim, right? These half human insect, animal, whatever creation mixed with an angel. So this is not anything that would be like shocking to me to go, oh man, of course they're trying to do this. Why? Because brain control is real, or mind control is real. Brainwashing people is real. This is where you get that MK Ultra stuff, and you talk about handlers, and you talk about how people are. Remember, I talked about a video where everybody gets the smart mark, and then somebody's literally controlling them, like a 5G tower of some sort is controlling them, and they send out this radio signal, right? And then the people just stop, and they want to go find these certain heroes because they're somehow considered the bad guys, or they're not fit for society. And I made the connection and the parallel to how that relates to Revelation 13 when it has this massive amount of people, society, who then just immediately turns, and if nobody's worshiping the beast, worshiping the Antichrist, they will be beheaded. And it's every person who will not be doing that at that point has to know what's happening and that they're dying for Jesus, because that's what Revelation 20 says. They were beheaded for their witness for Jesus. So this is not news. Like, if this is shocking to you, it's probably because you haven't been paying attention, or you just don't believe that these things are happening. These things are very real. So let's continue. It says, unfortunately, the People's Republic of China is choosing to use these technologies to pursue control over its people and its repression of members of ethnic and religious minority groups. I haven't even read this full article, and I just mentioned that. And she said, referring to China's treatment of the Uyghur population in Xinjiang. We cannot allow U.S. commodities, technologies, and software that support medical sciences and biotechnical innovation to be diverted toward uses contrary to U.S. national security, she added. After a senior U.S. official claimed China was engaging in gene editing, human performance enhancement, and brain-machine interfaces. This comes like making a super soldier, right? Marvel movies. Do you not think those things are not based off? Like, I enjoy a good Marvel movie. And for any Pharisee out there that wants to be like, oh, I can't believe you're watching this stuff, like, just chill out, all right? But super soldier, the super soldier serum, Captain America, everybody wants to be a superhero, right? Do you not think that, like, I've always thought, where does the thought pattern and the idea of these fantasies and wizards and mages and sorcerers and necromancers and super soldiers and godlike beings and galactic beings and Marvel and DC and these powers and otherworldly powers, interdimensional powers, multiversal powers. Where do they come from? Like, as a human being, as finite as we are, where do those thoughts come from? Like, are we coming up with them ourselves? To me, I've always believed that those thoughts come from demonic places. They come from, and let me rephrase that. Not demonic, not just demonic places, but heavenly places, right? So demons perverting the heavenly, or perverting God by trying to make other gods and trying to make other beings out there that are made to be worshipped. So you'll see people worship Nordic gods, Hindu gods, Muslim gods, Mormon gods, what is it? I mean, you just name it. Egyptian gods. You have these old texts, right, that all have a flood story to them. They all talk about these Nephilim and these giants. I've heard stories about from the Navajo, who talk about seeing giants in their day, like all these bits and pieces. And then you have a twisting of it, a perversion of it to lead people away from biblical truth, right? So where do we get these technologies? Where do we get these ideas to want to mind control people? Where do these fantasy places come from? You know, think about dreams, how our dreams form. Like, how is that even possible? It's like a whole nother world. I've been in dreams where I knew I was in a dream and I wanted to fly, so I'd fly. Or I was a superhero, or I somehow traveled out into space, or saw wild things. Or sometimes I was in an end times dream where I was thinking about something. Sometimes I'd see something that I felt like the Holy Spirit was revealing to me in a dream about things that were to come. I've had horrible dreams. I've had dreams I'd prefer not to talk about. I've had dreams that I thought really happened, and then I woke up and they didn't happen. I've had dreams where I was in a dream, I woke up and then realized I was still in the dream and woke up again, and then I was like, am I in a dream? So I say that because all this stuff is real. Like, this is not, you're not crazy. This is normal. And the fact is that this stuff is happening, and there are people out there who are not using this to save lives. We've mentioned that plenty of times. If this technology was only meant to save lives, then you would see it probably not even get that much support, right? Backing for it. But when you can put that as the forefront, right? And then you can start doing things that are underlining why we are wicked people with wicked hearts, right? And tongues that bless God at one point and then speak curses over the next. We bless God and we curse his creation at the same time. The tongue is set on fire by hell itself, and there's only one person that can tame it, the Lord. So the wickedness of our hearts is, goodness gracious, we operate from there so much. So it's not out of the realm to sit here and mention this stuff and go, wow, you're crazy. You're a conspiracy theory. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. So sorry for that rant. Let's keep moving. It says here, this comes as the U.S. Treasury Department announced sanctions on 8 other Chinese tech companies for biometric surveillance and tracking of ethnic and religious minorities in China, particularly the predominantly Muslim Uyghur minority in Xinjiang. I think I'm saying that right. Notably, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, has I don't want to say this because it might get me off of the platforms that I put this on, has certain ties to one of these companies called Magev Technology, which develops facial recognition software. Read the Commerce Department's announcement. It says here, Department of Commerce, Bureau of Industry and Security, 15 CFR Part 744, docket, blah, blah, blah. Addition of certain entities to entity list and revision of an entry on entity list. Agency, Bureau of Industry and Security Commerce, action, final rule. Summary, the final rule amends the Export Administration Regulation, EAR, by adding 37 entities under 40 entities or 40 entries to the entity list. These 37 entities have been determined by the U.S. Gov to be acting contrary to foreign policy or national security interests of the U.S. and will be listed on the entity list under the designations of People's Republic of China, Georgia, Malaysia, and Turkey. The final rule also modifies one existing entry on the entity list under the designation of China. The rule is effective, insert publication date, blah, blah, blah. For further information, contact Chair and User Review Committee, these people, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then the last bit of this article is, well, that's it. Zero Hedge covers the exact same thing here. and pretty much I'll post both of those articles. But to wrap this up in a nice bow, where does this lead us to Bible prophecy? Well, I have said this. I have made a theory about this. How does a society get to worshiping the beast? And I have thought about it. Like I thought about like this somehow messes with the mind, messes with the thought patterns, right? And you become dependent on this, pulling you as it shuts down your immune system. And if it does that, you become more dependent on these things, and you end up, it's like almost like you're becoming somebody else, right? Or with those 5G towers that are up and whatnot, and radio waves, and something how using this, maybe putting something into the body, and then as it sits in there, they talk about nanobots. We've talked about that. There are those xenobots, right? If you have a life-threatening injury, well, guess what? Just go buy some xenobots and you'll be good to go. But once those things are in you, those things can be remote controlled. I wonder, and then the Neuralink, right? Talking about wearing a walking Faraday cage over a network adapter that's inside your head, broadcasting as somebody can try to pick up the traffic and then hack it and then insert something into it. And then you become a part machine, like a Borg, a cyborg, some out of Star Trek or something, right? Or name your favorite cyborg video game, movie, whatever. And they end up taking the mark, and because they want to, and two, because they're also like brainwashed to do it. And that may not even be it. It's just a theory, right? I think that ultimately people will take it because they want to take it, and not even that they'll be forced. I think that they will just rather live comfortably here than die for the Lord, or to give their lives to the Lord. And so, but I have just thought about that, and like, hey, what do you need? What do you need this kind of technology for? What's the point? It would only make sense. China is literally, I have so much surveillance. I've posted videos about like they have 440 million like cameras all over the place. And that was years ago when I read that article. I read an article about that, and when I made that video, so they probably have millions, if not double that now. Who knows? I don't know. There could be 4 cameras for every one person. That's goodness gracious. And facial recognition, social credit score, like it's tyranny to its finest, to where you're not like, you will be known and you will be shut down. And then, hey, you know what? If you have all this stuff inside of you, and you're not being obedient, well, we're just going to shut you down, or just, right? Or you know what? Hey, you're not needed anymore. Hit the red button. You're dead. It just makes so much sense to where this is going and how this can be used to get the nations and get people to take the mark of the beast. And for people who are not cooperating in this, clearly that they are the outsiders, or the rebels, or the people that you should be watching out for, because they're dangerous, right? That's the whole people who have this, people who don't, right? And there's 2 different divisions, and I've talked about division, I've talked about civil wars, I've talked about just mass division, a spirit of division that's happening so much. So it all just lines up and how a beast system would work. And this just makes so much sense why this would happen, and why this would come, and why this would probably be adopted in many places that you have no idea, right? Who knows how many things have happened in the military, in our military, other militaries, technology that's probably far 50 years down the road of what we think is supposed to be 50 years down the road, and it's happening today. There's too many stories that have come out from people who've had to keep silent about things. When you go read them, they said, "Hey, I was held to secrecy until now," or something like that, right? We've seen this. This has been in movies. This has been on articles, real life history, stuff like that. It would make so much sense that this just follows along in the same vein. So, anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you think about this, and where you see this leading to in Bible prophecy, and how this will be used. And that's it. I'll see you in the comment section. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.